So, so these releases, huh?
Yo, listen, man. I actually put
Oh,
these down. I mean, Jesus Christ, you can't see shit here. Hold on, but you can't
Yeah,
see. But realistically, man, this is a long list, man. Wow.
yeah. It looks like they were trying to
that we
save
know of
30,
too.
$30
I'm
million
sure it's
dollars.
longer.
Crazy shit.
Well, I mean, listen. I mean, if you take a look at this list, I mean, the majority of these people I can understand. Not all, but a vast majority I can understand why WWE would cut them. But
Yeah, I agree.
I think they let go anyone who wanted to go. This is their excuse, right? So WWE is doing it on their terms. The people who were kind of like asking for their release and never got it, they got it. They got it today.
well, you know, the thing about it is for those performers, unfortunately, they're not getting into the best of terms because right now with the way that the economy is and the pandemic, there's wrestling going on. So there's not
There's no work.
those folks. I mean, unless they're getting their downside guarantee for the next 90 days and that can hold them up. Outside of that, I don't. I'm sure most of these folks are not exactly happy with the way things went down.
Yeah.
I
That
could see a couple of them being maybe on the sidelines till this passes over.
All of them are
Maybe
going to be in the side.
Rusev. I mean, rather still having a chance to come back on furlough. Maybe Rusev,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe Carl and Luke, but
But
everyone
the good
else
thing is now is that it's on their terms.
expendable.
well, I mean,
If
in looking at as we go along here, I mean, I can kind of tell you there's some talents here that I think would be very very well set going elsewhere and never coming back to WWE. Um,
so, can you just list everyone? Who
sure,
has the list?
sure, I have it. I have it. Give me a second. I'm just like getting my little stand gimmick here set up. There we go. All right. So I'm just going based, just straight up the way that it was provided. So I have here Heath Slater, Eric Young, Luke Gallows, Kurt Hawkins, Carl Anderson, Leo Rush, EC3, Drake Maverick, Kurt Angle, Aiden English, Maria Kanellis, Mike Kanellis, Eric Rowan, Epico, Primo, Sarah Logan, Zack Ryder, No Way Jose, Rusev, and referee Mike Chioda. That's on the main roster side. On the NXT side, we have Deanna Perrazzo, Alexander Yasik, I think, if I'm not,
Hmm.
hoping I'm not butchering his name,
So
and
I'm sure I'm sure you are, but it's okay.
MJ Jenkins. For WWE producers, even though this is like furlough, but
Yeah, this don't really.
they're not
They'll,
exactly released. But for now, they're not getting paid either. You have Billy Kidman, Mike Rotunda, Dave Finley, Pat Buck, Sean Devari, Scott Armstrong, Sarah Stock, Shane Helms, and Lance Storm. And I've read just before coming on here that there were three coaches, I should say, in NXT that were also released today. So give me 1 second while I pull that up. We have here Kendo Cashin, Chris Guy / Ace Steel, and Serena Deeb from the Performance Center. They were all let go. So doing the math, this is probably roughly about 35 people, give or take. I didn't do the count, but that would
so
that
it's a whole lot of money they're about to save.
well,
Julio, any of these break your heart?
It's just a wild and very heartbreaking day. I think the ones that surprised me the most was Gallows and Anderson, because those guys were literally part of the main event of the first night of WrestleMania. So I guess if you go to storyline wise, Undertaker just killed them off. So and, a lot surprised me. Mike Mike Chioda. I thought that guy was a lifer in the company. I figured like once he's done like working, being a referee, he can work, the ring crew, do behind the scenes, working catering. Like, I thought he was up there with guys like, with Gorilla Monsoon, Howard Finkel, Gino Kalin. Like these guys were set lifers, and I thought he was part of that group. It's just sad. Like, I don't know. Zack Ryder, I thought that guy was a lifer there too. Like, he was one of the really first guys who like took YouTube and like market himself. And now because of that, you see a lot of other, wrestlers do that. And Leo Rush, who was, wasn't he the reigning cruiserweight champ?
He was a few months back. He had lost it though.
He lost it? Okay, so yeah, I really thought he was a current cruiserweight champ. A lot of other people, I'm not that surprised, but like Chris was saying, hopefully that this is kind of like a furlough, right? And they probably just told him, hey, like just stay on the sidelines. We won't be able to pay you, but as soon as like things get back to normal, we'll bring you back. I don't think they're gonna bring everybody back. I think that this is part of the deal, like we need to save some money. Also too, I don't kind of feel, a lot of people are throwing shit out there like, hey, you should feel bad for WWE, you should feel bad for Vince McMahon. I don't feel bad for them at all. Like this company has so much money and so much stuff that they invested, with the XFL, with the big TV deals. Whenever they do WrestleMania, it's just an amazing like revenue. So, it's hurtful like to see a lot of people without a job right now, and right now I don't think it's the time or the place. I feel that like people go, oh, this is a great opportunity for somebody, or this was a blessing in the sky, this is you're going to greener pastures, or they're showing images of Cody Rhodes like doing this, like, hey, somebody's calling you. Right now, like I don't even think no company can afford hiring people. If WWE couldn't afford them, or couldn't hold on to them, I don't think like AEW, Ring of Honor, Impact, any other indie promotions right now. But yeah, this is a very sad day. It's also people in the executive level also too. I think they got
took pay cuts. Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, there's going to be more people that are going to be let go by WWE. We don't know exactly when or where, but the axe has not finished falling. That's for sure.
Yeah, so I'm just in all honesty, I'm heartbroken. I resentful at WWE because all these guys and gals, people who work, the wrestlers, the people who work behind the scenes, they bust their butt. They're going through all this BS right now with the with what's going on in the world right now. Like they busted their butt and they're going to the performance center. They work behind the scenes. They set up the crew. They did everything. So for Vince McMahon to just say, 2 days before, hey, come to Raw, you're gonna have a 2-minute squash match. Then 2 days later, guy, hey pal, we're gonna have to let you go. And who I mean by that, I meant by No Way Jose. I don't have any sympathy for Vince. I do feel sad for the performers. I am thankful that, I'm not working at the moment, but I'm still employed. I'm collecting unemployment. So I have some type of income coming in. You two gentlemen right now, I'm, happy that both you guys are considered essential workers and are still working. But a lot of these guys and gals is like, what the heck am I going to do now? I have no type of income coming in unless they're given their, their downside guarantee, which I hope they did. I hope they gave them something at least. But yeah. At the end of the day, it's I've been the entire day just, oh my God, it's just so sad. And it's not surprising that they release a lot of people, because isn't this time of year when they start to like clean up, when they start releasing like, 7, 8, 10 people, or is it normally happens around May or June?
Well, they used to do this once a year, but they haven't done it for a while because they were hoarding the talent so that nobody could get them.
Yes, exactly. That's another thing too that I wanted to point out. Like, WWE, like as soon as AEW just started, like, coming around the corner and like, hey, we're coming in, we're gonna take a bunch of your stars, we're gonna start signing this. All of a sudden, like, WWE had tons of money. They were giving guys more money. They were giving them longer contracts. They were getting all these part timers. I think Bill Goldberg, I think $1 million an appearance. Brock Lesnar to $10 million to work half a day. Edge to come in and work six, like 3 matches, for what, $10 million or whatnot. It's a sad time in the world of wrestling, and I apologize, guys, for like blabbing on, but it's very upsetting. And it just hurts, and I just hope all of them, or most of them, probably are going to get rehired back once everything goes back to normal.
Well, they are released from their contracts though, so yes, they can come back if they want them back, but it's in their ball's going to be on their court.
Yeah.
So WWE can't control where they go or what they do. I'm sure there's a few of those guys that would come back, like a Drake Maverick. You can tell that's his dream, to be in the WWE, not to just wrestle, but to be in the WWE. Zack Ryder.
I heard about the video. I didn't see it, but I heard it was very emotional.
Oh yeah, it's probably the most emotional. Everyone did a lot of them did a little videos here and there, but that was the most emotional one. Or they sent out tweets and stuff. A lot of them were very positive, like everything. Remember, a lot of those people on that list are longtime veterans in this business. So if they were smart, if they were smart with their money, a lot of wrestlers now are smart with their money, because the old timers, hey, save your money, kid.
Yeah.
So they should be fine.
The thing is that like now, like these guys and girls, like they're more sorry, I can't even get the word out. They're more educated. They have trades. They go to school. They have all these type of degrees that, like, even if they leave the world of wrestling, they'll be fine. Imagine if this happened like during the the mid '80s, the middle '80s, because the majority of those guys, all they did was wrestle. Like if they didn't wrestle, they'll probably be mechanics. They will probably be like security guards at malls. Like, I just feel that this generation, like they have an advantage because they're so smart. They're very smart. They're very smart guys and gals. Guys in the '80s were like, if you weren't a wrestler, you were probably a criminal. Because that's and I don't mean to like crap on the guys on the '80s, but it's the truth. You see a lot of these guys now, they're struggling. They're going to signings. They're still wrestling for $200 a night, like these because they don't have anything left. A guy like Xavier Woods, I see he's gonna be fine, and I can't think of off the top of my head who else, but yeah.
I think a lot of them will be fine.
I'm sorry?
I think a lot of the people that were released will be okay. They've either made a shitload of money. Look, Zack Ryder has spent more on toys than I've probably made in the last 5 years. So it's like what they're a lot of them are going to be fine.
You the money that he has, that
the ones that might be in danger might be like the guys that were on, that weren't on the main roster. Like Leo Rush probably doesn't make that much money, and he's super young. He hasn't been in the business that long. He wasn't in WWE that long, right?
3 years.
3 years.
Wow.
I doubt he was making that much money. So maybe someone like that might struggle a little bit, but he's not going to struggle to find work once everything goes back to normal.
Yeah, luckily for these guys, it's 2020. Like Julio was saying, a lot of these people, well, a good majority of them, from what I know off the top of my head, have a decent social media following. So,
and I forgot
they can put their name out there. Yeah, they can put their name out there, and I mean,
they can promote themselves.
Yeah, I'm sure that they can figure a way out to make some money, but it's unfortunate because just looking at these names, that this is their passion. This was the dream that they were chasing all their lives, and now the rug is swept from under them. And this is really a reality check, a wake-up call to everybody, because these people, not all of them, but like a Kurt Angle or Rusev, to me, was untouchable, and just like that, they're out of a job. So it's a wake up call to us ordinary folk, I think, and it's unfortunate, but hopefully things change quick.
Yeah, Lou, what are your takes, man?
No, I mean, listen, this list right here, what I see when I see this list is, um, I see a list. Obviously, it's a lot of very dedicated professionals, both men and women, both in and out of the ring. So just because a lot of these names are people that have been in some cases in and out of WWE. It's not their first rodeo within the WWE for some of these people. Um, obviously now I try to look at this in the most positive light because in all honesty, these were performers that were for the most part, not all, but a good majority were underutilized in the WWE. So even though right now, and as we record this, obviously none of these folks are feeling good about themselves. Probably in their situations, all of these people will land on their feet, every single one of them. Whether it be within the WWE, which I believe that some of these people will come back, just because I think that they may have been released as a means, as a cost cutting move for the company. And again, at the end of first quarter and obviously second quarter of 2020 for WWE is going to be disastrous, uh, based upon the fact that they've had to cancel all their live shows. They get no revenue on what could be over 100 plus dates of television. And now you're talking, I don't know, 48, 49 weeks, let's say that this goes on for another couple of months. You could be talking about anywhere from 14 weeks, 16 weeks, 20 weeks, with no revenue for television. And what I mean by that is they're not getting the revenue from the arenas because the live arena gates, for a Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, NXT, well, maybe not NXT because that's still out in Full Sail, but definitely for Raw and SmackDown, they're in NBA arenas, and those arenas are, they may not always be packed to capacity, but they get good numbers in ticket sales. So when you go from, let's say, averaging 8 or 10,000 people in the arena every Monday and Friday night to zero, that hurts. When you're talking about WrestleMania that was supposed to be in front of, conservative, let's say 75,000 people, and probably making I don't know, my goodness, probably $10 million, and that goes down the tube, and you can't really sell any pay-per-views for a show that, again, give WWE a ton of credit for even producing the show and over delivering on WrestleMania, but they really did it at a complete loss because they're not making any money on WrestleMania this year. This was almost like a gimme. Like they gave it away for free as a make good to the fans. So there's a lot of money that WWE lost. Unfortunately, in the corporate world, when you're in a business and you're trying to make money and you know that you're losing and you're losing big time, even if it's just at the moment, these types of cuts happen. I'm trying to look at it from the positive side because at some point, this things will go back to normal. And what will end up happening is that although I believe that some of these talents, wrestlers, referees, producers, they will be back in WWE, some of them, but some of them won't, whether it's by WWE choosing or the performers choosing. They choose to go elsewhere. For some of these performers, it might be a great opportunity for them to cut their teeth somewhere else. Rehab their careers, get a new look, get a new, a new scene. Go somewhere else, get a fresh coat of paint on them, and become whoever they wanted to be, and probably couldn't within the walls of the WWE. They could be able to do it elsewhere. And the thing about it is that there's not a single person on this list who could not in the right situation draw money for promotion, be it an indie, being a promotion that's on television. um I don't see any one of these talents who couldn't possibly do it, in the right circumstance. So in all honesty, even though it sucks for a lot of these people that they no longer have a job, and a secure paycheck coming in every week. But when in situations like this, it creates opportunities, and not only a great opportunity for these talents, but it could also be a great opportunity for the business in general to be able to get a fresh coat of paint for a lot of other promotions who may either need talent or may be in a position to where they can use a few fresh faces to freshen up their shows. And it's mutually beneficial to all parties involved, because at the end of the day, some of these performers could be underutilized. They rehab their careers elsewhere, and then it's always a circle. Wrestlers come and go all the time, and guess what? If a wrestler rehabs their career and they become really, really special, WWE may want them back, and they may want to come back to WWE. And guess what? Now that performer's worth a whole lot more money. Now, when that person comes back, they can command a much higher paycheck. They can command, hopefully, a better position on the card. And then WWE, or whichever promotion, doesn't matter, but any promotion can look at them and really start, showcasing them for the talents that they have. So, in all honesty, it's a huge negative at the very, very moment. But I think in the not so distant future, this is actually going to end up being a blessing for not only these wrestlers, but also for the industry in general.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. It's all about value now. You have to make yourself valuable once things get back to normal.
All right, just so we're not so negative, how about we try to turn this into a positive? So Julio, how about you pick one of these guys or girls? Or girl? There's only one girl, right?
No,
Two
there's
girls.
two.
Oh,
girls.
there's
Right, there's the
Logan,
NXT, right?
The two women.
Diana.
Oh, and no, there's three, because we got Sarah Logan, Deonna Purrazzo, and MJ Jenkins.
Right.
And
All right, Julio,
Maria.
how about you pick one person, and where would you like to see them land? Let's say if everything is fine in a month and they could show up on a television show, where would you put them? Pick one. You have anybody in mind?
Right now, if there's anybody who can go to another company and and change things around or make things better or have a big impact, without a doubt, I guess we have them all on our head, is Rusev. If he's that one guy that was just so underutilized, not appreciated, buried, killed off, killed on, married, divorced. He's Russian one day, he's Bulgarian the other day, and now he's an American. If there's any company out there that can benefit right now on any of these guys or gals, or if there's one person on this list who will say, you know what, I'm the one who's going to do great because I'm the one who has a bigger value, I think it's Rusev. Zack Ryder, Zack Ryder has value too. I mean, he's been with the company for what?
A billion years.
Forever.
It might be 15, 14, 15 years or something like that.
Years? Yeah, like he has WWE written all over him. Like the guy can, with his WWE background, can go anywhere and ask for a ton of money. He can ask for a ton of money at independent shows, at signings, at Comic-Con, you name it, because of the value that WWE has given him. So out of all the guys and gals, it'll be Rusev and Zack Ryder. Gallows and Anderson, those guys can go anywhere. I think those guys are good enough. Those are probably two guys that I could see WWE bringing back when all this is said and done. I can see those two guys coming back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was they recently signed huge mega deals. And
How was it, 5 years or something like that?
It was a crazy number. It might have been 750,000 each.
I would not
per
be
year. It was a crazy, crazy, crazy number that they could not turn down. I'd like to see them go back to Japan for a little bit. I don't know if that means they can work with Ring of Honor as well. Maybe one of those deals. I know some people still do that. That's probably where I want to see them. Rusev is probably to me, the most exciting name on the list.
valued.
For one, he wanted to go. He wanted to leave. And
But they
he's
threw money at him.
every company. he fits in anywhere.
Yeah.
He's that
Vic, I
good.
know you're excited about EC3,
I am excited about
your
EC3.
boy.
I'm a big fan of EC3. I don't know what happened, but he put out a video today. He shaved his head. He has a beard, and
Nice.
he's very, very serious. He's very pissed off, but he's in character. He's changing up his character. I don't know where he's gonna go. I don't know how cool he was with Billy Corgan during that little run. I don't know. I know he'd probably end up in the NWA. I'd like to see him in Impact. Maybe Impact doesn't have anyone right now except Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan. Besides that, they don't really have anyone. So where I want EC3 and Drake Maverick together, because they work really well together. Wherever they go, it could be NWA. I know NWA won't work with Impact. They have bad blood. But hopefully they could, if they go to NWA, they could also work Ring of Honor. That would be interesting. But, me personally, because,
fit good in NWA.
I would, they fit. EC3 is perfect for NWA.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the guys released are perfect for NWA because they have that more traditional style. They work a little bit slower, more storytelling. They're bigger guys. So Rusev, EC3, EC3 has the great physique, and Rusev is a big 300-pounder. There's a lot of guys like that in the NWA, so they probably fit good over there.
And NWA and do some commentary because the guy's a good talker.
Who you said? Drake Maverick?
In English?
Oh, Aiden English. Oh yeah, he can definitely
he could do some
he
commentary.
fits good in NWA too.
Yeah, he'll fit good in
NWA. These are like the NWA guys. They're all perfect for the NWA. Yeah, because you look over there right now, they got Wade Barrett on commentary. He's in that WWE produced, talent. He has that WWE on him. Like it's gonna be hard to get rid of. Sandow is over there. Whatever. They have a bunch of guys. I'm trying to think which one of these guys would be good in Ring of Honor. Leo Rush.
I was gonna say, Leo Rush would probably be good at Ring of Honor.
In all honesty,
I don't know where Rowan would go. I'm guessing he'll probably go to AEW.
He should go to Japan.
Eric, here I agree. I think realistically, I think two talents. There's actually 4 talents on this list that would be perfect for Ring of Honor. I think the Gallows and Anderson should probably work full-time in Ring of Honor. The only reason why I don't think they should go back to Japan is because of the fact that they were there for so long. And unfortunately, when they came to the United States to work for the WWE, it wasn't exactly a great run. They had starts and stops, and I think that their value in Japan will be lessened. I think that going to Ring of Honor, which works a much more serious style, they could be able to be presented as real badasses and get to work some really great tag team matches, which, again, they could work with the Briscoes. I'm always praying that the Revival were to show up at Ring of Honor because those matches, the way that Ring of Honor presents their matches, that would be great. In all honesty, I think that Maria Kanellis and Mike Bennett should go back to Ring of Honor. They should go back there, and if they can resurrect the Kingdom, and do that gimmick again, if they can recapture that fire, I think that would be great for them because, in all honesty, that was the best run of either one of their careers because I think that Maria Kanellis was actually really fantastic as a valet and as a mouthpiece in Ring of Honor. That's where she really cut her teeth and became a really good television personality. And Mike Bennett, I always thought Mike Bennett was a good wrestler. It's just a matter that when he came to WWE, he's a good wrestler in the midst of a group of several hundred wrestlers. And unless you got a really extraordinary quality to bring you up and lead you into the pack, he just kind of fell in the middle, and he had his personal issues as well, which kind of tapered him off a little bit. And I'm glad that he's got himself cleaned up and he's doing well. But I think that for those 4 talents, they would be, I think, immediate positives for Ring of Honor. In all honesty, I would actually like to see Aiden English either, I don't know if I'd want to see Aiden English in the NWA only because I think that Stu Bennett, Wade Barrett is doing a great job on commentary. They have Sean Mooney there. I don't know if
But I'm sure he wants to wrestle.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, I don't know if Aiden English would be a redundancy, meaning too much good talent in the commentary booth, and I don't know if that's something that would be behoove him so much. I would actually like to see Aiden English probably go to AEW as an announcer. And I think that because he probably has the delivery, again, it's like I like their Excalibur is kind of like a real polarizing thing because there are things about Excalibur that I like in his voice. He's got a good voice. It's just that the overall presentation with the mask and so many other things are kind of a turnoff. Aiden English, you look at him, most wrestling fans will know who he is. He doesn't have that big of a profile that he's going to overshadow anybody. And I think that he could be able to go in there and either work with Jim Ross or Taz or Shivani and hopefully be able to do a good job with either one of those guys, depending on how they want to present him. So I think he'd be great there. I'm totally with Victor. Eric Rowan needs to go work in Japan. He needs to be rehabbed and he needs to leave the U.S. main scene immediately. Primo and Epico, they're both working out in Puerto Rico. They're running their father's promotion, WC, and that's going to continue working there. No Way Jose might be a good fit to go to Puerto Rico and maybe be a heel. But the thing is that WWC is not hot right now. But I think that for a guy like No Way Jose, it might be a good place for him to it's just a matter of beginning to rehab himself. It's not a matter of getting great exposure or making a ton of money. I think right now it's just kind of like learning, because the No Way Jose character is a lot of fun, but at the same time, funny ain't money. And, you can't play that character forever. At some point, you either got to get an edge to you or change it up. So I think for Jose, he's got a great opportunity here to be rehabbed and change. I totally agree with Victor. I think EC3 and Drake Maverick need to be together in some kind of package. NWA is a good fit for them. Probably more for EC3 than for Maverick, but if Maverick is a mouthpiece and could be a real heel, that even though EC3 could cut his own promos, but it might be beneficial to just say, like, Maverick talks for him and he just goes out there and just kills people. If he changes his character enough from the cut up pretty boy character that he's always played, if he really changes his look, that can be a huge positive. Eric Young, I don't know if I see much of an in-ring career for him. I think that his next move is going to be behind the camera, being a producer and he could do that anywhere, because I think Eric Young, he's got a world of experience. If I were Heath Slater, I'd be like, just follow the lead of your boys in 3MB, McIntyre and Jinder Mahal, follow that lead. And I think that Heath Slater, will be seeing him back in WWE sooner rather than later.
Chris, who you got? Who would you like to see go somewhere?
I mean, the guys I'm most excited about on this list are Rusev and EC3, just because I think they're probably the big main eventers. I think they're big cash cows, big payday down the line on the return to WWE. So I'm most excited for them. And I think they need to be on AEW. Just an obvious one to get their name, to get to stab WWE in the back, get their revenge, just like all the other guys are doing. Yeah, it's the ultimate. It's the biggest competition at the moment, and these guys, I think they'd be huge. So
okay,
that's where both of them, I think, need to be.
Hey Chris, can I ask you a question? Considering that AEW recently that they signed Brody Lee and they signed Matt Hardy, pretty much they left WWE, and as soon as they left the door, they basically went from one house to the other and no in between. Do you think that it would be beneficial for AEW to sign talents that have been released today from WWE without maybe giving them a little bit of an in between? Knowing that the industry is not exactly, it's not exactly popping right now, and most of these companies are not going to have money to, meaning the Ring of Honors and Impact Wrestlings and people like that may not have the money available or even the inclination to sign these guys. Do you think that it might be beneficial for AEW to they can check mark the guys that they want, but maybe take a little bit of a pause and say, hey, let's reconvene in 6 months and see what's up?
Yeah, it's a little concerning, of course, because obviously you still have the Revival out there, and I'm sure they're going to be drooling to sign those guys. So
that's number one on AEW's list is the Revival.
I'm sure, but I'm certain that AEW isn't immune to this firing as well. I'm sure they have plenty of expendable talent or, production team. And I think these guys will bring money, will bring value, and will bring eyes. So, I mean, they might be cheap too at this point in time. They might be willing. Those are guys that were just down. They're not interested in money. They want a good storyline. They want to work for passion. So I think those guys would come kind of cheap right now. So it might be worth grabbing them now before their value goes up in a year or 6 to 8 months.
I mean, I think they're gonna be very, very, very picky because they're running out of space on the roster, and they don't want to have too many people and not use them. That's the opposite of what they want to do. They want to make sure they have something lined up for you, and they bring you in.
I mean, the only reason why I asked that question is because the way that AEW, from a talent roster, it seems like a lot of their talent, they seem to be very high on wanting to get their talent from the independent scene. They're not wanting to get people. They have a few players here and there who have national press, but for the most part, they're mostly indie guys. So I don't know. Yes, I think that AEW has a lot of expendable talent that they actually could do away with, because I think that there are other names out in the indie scene who have better press and are at least in my opinion better athletes and better pro wrestlers that could be more beneficial to help AEW draw money as a promotion. And then if you were to sprinkle in a few talents from the WWE, because there's a lot of these guys on this list, that if AEW picks them judiciously, could be a huge benefit to them, and bringing them into the promotion and, and then lining them up. Because with some of these guys, I guess the fear is for me is that, probably not wanting AEW to come across looking like Impact Wrestling did many years ago, when they literally looked like they were signing every former WWE talent once they left the door, and soon after that putting some kind of a title or some kind of something on them, and it basically, for lack of a better term, it really devalued a lot of their homegrown talent to the point where it actually was not beneficial to them to sign these guys. So I think that that's kind of the position with AEW about trying to sign people judiciously and not necessarily, pick all these guys because they could be money draws right now. It's a matter of like, hey, take your time, develop the people that you have right now. And then when you bring them in, they have more people to work with. And if there are other guys on the roster that need to be, that need to be released just because they're not fitting in with the picture at the moment, they can do that then.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think
the pressure's on AEW too, because they don't want to look like this. I mean, I imagine AEW tomorrow releasing 30 guys.
They're not going to do that.
God, I hope not. I mean,
no, they're not.
They kind of can't.
Their plan was to
It's a
lose
PR
money.
nightmare.
Their plan was to lose money for 3 years. That was literally their game plan.
Well, I mean, but the thing about it is, I mean, you could definitely have a business plan where you know that you're going to lose, but there comes a point, and obviously today WWE showed their cards as to where there's just like, okay, this hurts too much, and they obviously dropped the card down. Now for a company like AEW, they've only been around for a little over a year, so there's not, their losses will probably be much less because they don't have as much overhead because they're still a startup. What ends up happening is that, do I think that they're going to cut their rosters? No, I really don't. I don't think that they have the contracts that they give to their guys are probably not nearly as exorbitant as the WWE contracts, with a few exceptions here and there, and those are for the top flight names. But I'd probably say about 80% of the guys on the AEW roster are making comfortable livings, but they're not making, exorbitant, contracts to where it would sting the company that much to say, hey, we were projected to lose maybe $2-3 million a year over the next 3 years. Now we've lost that much money in the last month. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a bit of a difference. So it's all.
Yeah, but remember,
I don't know their books, but I'm presuming that they're intelligent people behind the scenes at AEW and their finance department, and they work through all that stuff.
Yeah.
But really, I don't foresee that happening.
Their game plan was literally based on let's We're probably gonna lose money for a couple years, but then we'll get a TV contract. They got their TV contract in months.
Quicker.
Yeah, so this TV contract is a lot more money than they were expecting to make in the first or the second year.
Of course.
You know, so not only that, they only do four shows a month, unless there's a pay-per-view. So yes, they're losing money four times a month, but they also have money that they didn't expect. So they were not expecting that TV deal, not yet. They thought they would get it eventually. They did not think they would have it in 2020.
Well, I mean,
So they'll be fine.
yeah, I mean, realistically, the Turner networks have. It's really weird to me because I don't understand why it took almost 20 years between the end of WCW and the advent of AEW for the Turner networks to have professional wrestling on their station. I mean, they're for decades the entire identity of TBS was based around Georgia Championship Wrestling, WCW. It was always or Jim Crockett Promotions and then WCW. It was always about pro wrestling on their stations, and every other major program that TBS would air would piggyback off of pro wrestling. So, good on TNT for having AEW on, and realistically, I mean, I'm glad that there's more stuff on TV because in all honesty, because in all honesty, listen, I can. We can have our disagreements about AEW's presentation, but at no point am I ever saying get these guys off the air. It's just a matter of I wish that there was a bigger platform for Ring of Honor. Impact Wrestling has its platform on Access TV, even though for my flavor, I really don't like their presentation. I watch every week, or I try to watch, and it's difficult. But I understand their position, and the way that they present their stuff is the way they present their stuff. And I have to forgive a lot of it, but at the same time, it's like, okay, as a viewer, I'm not really enticed to watch. There's just not a whole lot for me that I latch on to. WWE is kind of the same thing at times, but they have enough top tier talent that they can make up for, either bad booking or, poor situations where they just, misuse or mishandle talent. They have enough top tier talent where they can kind of get away with it, depending on, how long you do it. After a certain point, it does get a little ridiculous. But really what I would like to see once this all goes back to normal, I'd actually like to see Ring of Honor have a larger platform so that we can actually be able to see Ring of Honor. Right? It's weird to me that after all these years, Ring of Honor just has not been able to find like a nice large national cable platform where they can showcase their talent, because man, people may not necessarily know it because they don't have a big enough platform, but Ring of Honor has a lot of great talent.
Let me ask why. Why does Ring of Honor always have this problem that they can't get like a TV deal? Or I mean, because they're so popular, like people know a lot of like a lot of current like WWE guys are originally were Ring of Honor and AEW as well. How come Ring of Honor have not had that luck?
Well, because their owners own television, so they put them on their own television.
And who their owners are?
Sinclair
Broadcasting.
The thing is with Ring of Honor is that I think there's a lot of theories, but
because they've been around since what, 2002?
2002.
It's the same as Impact, no? Both of them?
Somewhere around that range?
Give or take.
As soon as WCW was gone, probably a year later, here they come. Something like that.
They're still here.
Here's the thing.
God bless them.
Here's the thing about both of those promotions, right? I think that really realistically with Ring of Honor, the issue, if I had to give a best guess as to why they've had so much trouble really landing the big TV deal, is because of it's always been timing. Because obviously WWE is WWE, like nobody's competing against them in terms of like distribution. Nobody's competing against them. But when Ring of Honor was around, Impact Wrestling, was around, and I think that Impact having the weekly pay-per-views when they first started out was a little silly, but it was new. It was a new deal and kind of got over. But for some reason, it seemed like television executives are more enamored with Impact Wrestling, especially when they started getting some of the larger stars. You know, whether and this predates the Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff era of Impact Wrestling. What this does is that you're looking at the guys from Ring of Honor, like the AJ Styles, the Samoa Joes, the Chris Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, all these guys that were for a while previous, they were all working in Ring of Honor. But when Impact Wrestling had a larger distribution platform, whether it's just weekly pay-per-views or they were on Fox Sports Net or whatever have you, that was still a larger distribution platform than Ring of Honor had at the time. So they were able to get those wrestlers to come in and sign up with them. And then when WWE left the Paramount networks, they left or the Viacom group, Spike TV, to go back to NBC Universal at the USA Network.
For TNA.
And what ended up happening was that Spike TV immediately went to TNA and they signed them up. And as soon as that happened, Ring of Honor was screwed, because now the way that it was working is that it was only NBC Universal and Viacom. They were the only people producing pro wrestling on TV at the time. And they tried HDNet, but HDNet didn't have they didn't have a large enough platform on cable TV. You look at USA and you look at Spike TV, their platforms go to like 95, 96% of the cable universe, where HDNet, I think, topped out at like 55 or 60% of cable TV homes. So that's too small of a platform to try to ply your trade. Then they, and I've seen them on local TV. I've seen them in syndication, but for whatever reason, syndicated TV is no longer the best platform for professional wrestling, because it's just too short. It doesn't make enough money. It always ends up falling short, unfortunately, in that platform. So I think for Ring of Honor, more than anything, it's always been a matter of timing. And I was hoping that Access TV, when they were showing New Japan Pro Wrestling and the women's promotion, Women of Wrestling with David McLean, I was hoping that maybe if one of those shows didn't make it, for lack of a better term, that they would bring in Ring of Honor, because Ring of Honor is only a 1-hour TV show. It's a perfect fit. They produce all their stuff already, so it's not as if they're Access TV would have to come up with a boatload of money to make that happen. But once they bought Impact Wrestling, then it was very, very simple. We're going to put Impact on, and the other two shows right now, as far as I know, are no longer on the station. So man, for Ring of Honor, I'm just hoping that they get a larger distribution. But to answer your question, it's a long-winded way of saying they've just had a lot of bad luck.
Well, they also didn't do themselves any favor. If you look at their production, it wasn't even as good as WWE's production in 1985. It looked Ring of Honor in the first 2 years, first 5, 6, 7 years, looks like it's being recorded on someone's cell phone.
This is true.
No lights. No lighting. It's super dark. Right away, TNA's presentation was a lot better than Ring of Honor's.
Yeah, I've always said that Ring of Honor kind of had that ECW look, but just with a little more money. Like they were always like very dark. You hardly didn't see any fans, even though there were fans at the arenas. Like they were kind of like the ECW, but with a little more cash behind.
For some reason, ECW, when you watch it, there's a charm to ECW.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you want it to look like that. They took that bad look and they told you it was rugged look. Yeah, they told you it's rugged, it's gritty, it's dirty on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
They told you this is on purpose. We want it to be like this because we're like the bad boys of wrestling.
And Ring of Honor did.
Ring of Honor is like
to an extent.
And not only that, they wouldn't grow. They didn't want to grow. They would be like, let's go in bigger buildings.
I think they wanted to stay like that. Yeah,
I think like this.
To them like that. Yeah, let's stay where we are. We're happy.
They didn't
able
decide.
to be good wrestlers.
Think about how long they've been around, and they didn't decide to grow until they had basically the Elite, when the Elite was going crazy and main eventing everything for that run. The Young Bucks and Cody and Marty Scurll and Hangman.
We went to that show, if I remember.
Yeah, they were having great shows. Those shows were crazy. They were so much fun.
Jay Lethal.
Right there is where they go, okay, we're going to start growing now. Okay, but now these guys leave, and now you don't have the talent to go with that growth.
And the thing is with Ring of Honor is that they actually, you know, lent all of their resources to Cody and the Bucks when they did the first All In show. And what ended up happening for Ring of Honor, I think that they may have had the disposition of this is going to help us elevate our stock, and it actually ended up doing the complete opposite. Because what ended up happening is once that show became successful, and you know Cody and the Bucks and that whole group there had enough momentum to actually, you know, get financial backing and start their own promotion, all the top names that Ring of Honor had and had built for several years priorhand, with the exception of probably the Briscoes and maybe Jay Lethal, all left. They all left Ring of Honor one by one. So it's like I said, they just had a calamity of unfortunate blows. And really, what I'm hoping for is that for Ring of Honor, that they could capitalize on some of this talent that WWE released, because I think that some of these people could be phenomenal boosts for Ring of Honor in terms of their wrestling, in terms of the personalities, and even the profiles. Because these guys, even if they may have been underutilized in WWE, still have high profiles, and if you book them correctly, they could be major stars for those promotions. So in all honesty, you know, I'm really hoping and pulling for Ring of Honor only because they've had so many starts and stops, whether it be their own doing or the industry kind of, you know, shaping around in a way that Ring of Honor hasn't been able to get around. But I think that they have, at least I believe, a great opportunity here, along with all the other wrestling promotions. They all do, including WWE, including them, because, you know, they're including them. Because now getting rid of some of this excess talent that they weren't using can mean that WWE can then focus on maybe getting newer talents that they want to get to, maybe have more resources to develop, you know, the people in NXT and bring them up. So it's going to be a win-win for everybody at the end, no matter how things ultimately shake out.
It's a tough time at the moment. We're trying to all
hopefully, because this was indies and wrestling as a whole was on a crazy upswing. You know, I mean, after the Elite left New Japan and was popping up everywhere, they were really elevating the indies for the last year and a half, 2 years. And this is really going to set everything back, unfortunately, this pandemic. Hopefully a lot of the indies can survive through this, because this was a really big time, and it could have been a situation where Ring of Honor, for example, could have capitalized on all the fame that wrestling was getting at the moment to maybe get on a national stage. But hopefully a lot of these situations can survive this, because you know,
well,
the wrestlers are really hurt after this.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, wrestling. You know, the one thing about you know, and I was actually answered an email that one of my coworkers sent me a little while ago, and he was just saying, you know, he was just like, man, you must be loving this. That wrestling is the only sports show that's on TV. And I answered back and I said, yeah, it's like nothing puts down professional wrestling for a 3 count. You know what I'm saying? It's just pro wrestling, you know, stays going no matter what. But at the end of the day, the reason why I say that this could be a positive for professional wrestling, and as much as promotions can do this, is to try to produce content, is because of the fact that there are no sports on TV, none.
So they could take advantage.
So, well, here's the thing, right? For people who are wrestling fans, if you produce really good stuff, you can really make the business great, not just for the people who watch every week, but for, you know, you can get a new fan base. You could probably get wayward fans who were like, oh, I was a fan 10 years ago, and then it's like, oh, it started getting boring or whatever have you. You can bring those people back, because guess what? You know, those people who might watch the NBA or Major League Baseball or the NFL or the NHL or, you know, whatever, you know, NASCAR, God knows, whatever sports that they want to watch, well, guess what? None of those leagues are open. There's unless you're going to sit there and watch old games or, you know, whatever, that's fine, but there's no new content anywhere. The only sports that's producing any new content right now is professional wrestling. So they have they, meaning the industry, has a tremendous opportunity now to gain some momentum, and that could probably be part of the reason why WWE is as gung-ho as they are about, they got the state of Florida to give them, essential worker status, which I just
I
did.
believe that they did.
Yeah, I just shook my head and just thought to myself,
Yeah.
I don't know how they figured that one out without giving them exactly. Without giving,
That and the man in the White House probably.
yeah, but what I'm saying is that, in all
You do that for
honesty,
me.
professional wrestling should not be considered as essential workers. But guess what? If WWE was able to do it, then God bless them, because they got themselves an opportunity to get more eyeballs on their stuff, especially if they're still going to be producing live content. And if AEW is either producing live content or taped content, whatever it might be, it doesn't matter. It's still new. As long as it's new to the viewer, then it's new, no matter how it's produced.
I'm sorry. Let me ask, where is AEW doing their tapes?
I think
that's when they did was in Atlanta,
Georgia. I think they're doing it in Georgia. I know that
somewhere in Georgia. Yeah,
I know.
Okay.
somewhere near Atlanta.
I thought that they were in Florida too. I thought they were doing, like in Jacksonville or something like that.
At first, they were when they were like in the big open air arena. They were in Jacksonville, but I think they moved to a smaller location, and I think this one is somewhere just outside of Atlanta.
Yeah, they were in Tony Khan's that building that they own. I forgot what it's called. Whatever. Anyway,
go back now.
They were.
I never heard of that one.
Yeah, I don't remember the name.
Yeah, that one.
Daly's place. It's called Daly's place.
Because I figure since Florida's allowing the WWE to,
Oh, they're gonna have to allow everyone now.
Do shows. I'm guessing that
everyone's going back to Florida.
That AEW is gonna just jump on it. Impact is gonna jump on it. Ring of Honor is gonna jump on it.
Well, Ring of Honor is not filming. They said they're not gonna film until it's over. MLW said they're not gonna do anything. Ring of Honor said they're not doing anything.
Ring of Honor said they're not doing it. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if like all these companies say, "Hey, Florida's allowing it. Let's find a gym, a church, anywhere."
Impact might try. I haven't heard them say that they're not gonna try.
I think that Impact will probably try, only because with Access TV backing them, they have the money to take a loss and do, obviously they would work in a smaller venue so that their overhead costs would be less. But I wouldn't be surprised if Impact Wrestling were.
They might already be.
But aren't they in Florida already?
No, I mean their offices are in Nashville. It's just their offices are in Nashville. It's just a matter that
their offices might be in Canada now.
Yeah, because I know.
Yeah, they've been working a lot in Canada.
They operated in Florida until they went on the road. I know they were in Orlando, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, years ago they had an office in Orlando, and they, because they were working out of Universal Studios.
Universal Studios, there we go. Yes,
they were doing all their tapings there, but those days are long gone.
Those days are long gone.
Those, I honestly cannot remember the last time they did a taping out in Orlando. I seriously,
I don't think they've done it since the new regime got there.
The new owners. Yeah.
And Ring of Honor, aren't they based in Pennsylvania?
Yes, they are.
They are, right? So right now they're not running any shows, unfortunately.
Which is, what, and the thing about it is, for Ring of Honor, the reason why I say that could be really hurtful to them is because they have a big library of old matches. The unfortunate thing is that a lot of those wrestlers are now have been so heavily featured, particularly in the WWE.
Or elsewhere, yeah.
But particularly in the WWE, because a lot of WWE's top talent, no matter how they're booked, but the top talent perception-wise, over the last maybe 5 or 6 years have come through. It's been Ring of Honor, NXT, and then Raw, SmackDown, wherever they go to. So it's been to show any of those matches as like, best of matches on Ring of Honor, you're just kind of reminding everybody of what once was. And I think that for Ring of Honor, it might behoove them to try if they can. Obviously, if it's going to be something that's going to cost them more than it's worth, and they know where their breaking point is, then you obviously got to bow out. But if they can, they should try to produce some kind of new content. Because
they're out of it for moral reasons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not about the money. They just don't want to do it because they don't want anyone to.
They don't want to jeopardize the wrestlers. Right?
Yeah, it's that simple.
Yeah. I know there's a WWE employee who tested positive just recently.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's
First of all, as many employees as they have, they probably have 20 employees that have
Several.
tested positive.
Yeah.
How many?
Oh.
They have 300 wrestlers. They gotta have 500 employees.
Yeah.
10,000.
So
and
to have only one person out of 500, that doesn't
Doesn't
make
make
sense.
sense. Yeah, it's
It's a-
sketchy. Sketchy at best.
Yeah, it's a lie.
yeah, there's a little bit of a thin line there. So I
Mhm.
The
definitely
gray area right there.
yeah, there really is, man. But I mean, the hope is obviously. I know that the NWA recorded content in an empty arena because they have their place out in. I don't want to say it's in North Carolina because I don't want to state that they're recording all their stuff out of North Carolina, although they might.
It's somewhere in the South.
I thought,
Maybe Charlotte, but
somewhere in the South. I
It's somewhere
actually
in the
thought
South.
like
yeah, somewhere in the
Midwest. I
Southeast.
thought
I
it was
just
like,
don't. I want to say it might
Chicago
be
or St.
Charlotte,
Louis.
but I don't want to say for fact because I don't know.
I really thought it was like in Chicago because don't Billy Kukorian owns part of NWA or he has his own promotion.
He owns the NWA. Yeah.
No,
In
he owns
Chicago?
he owns the NWA outright.
Oh, and that one is based out of Chicago.
I think it looks like it's Atlanta,
Oh, it's Atlanta.
Okay,
and it's the same studio where they filmed.
where Crockett used to do.
So that
Yeah.
so that's where I thought that they were filming all the NWA stuff. Like I thought that that they were in Chicago or St.
No,
Louis,
no.
Wisconsin. That was
Brother.
always my thought.
They're
I
doing Southern wrestling.
No, and the reason
They're
why
doing Southern wrestling.
Southern
Right.
I never heard of that before.
The thing is,
Never heard of Southern wrestling.
Southern wrestling.
South.
Whoever heard of that? No, but
That's what I mean.
I don't think that they would have been running out of Chicago anyway, because I think that the overhead cost of running their business there would far exceed.
Well, that's
being in Atlanta.
Chicago is expensive.
I mean, it's
Yeah, it's kind of like, hey, why don't you guys just come to New York?
Yeah, I mean, the only other two places that would cost them more money would be New York and San Francisco.
Yeah,
Only two spots that would cost them more money than running out of Chicago. So, in all honesty, running out of Atlanta, that's pretty good. And the fact is that, they record a lot of stuff, in advance. So it's like they'll have their guys there for a week, and they'll just do 8 weeks of TV and put it in the can. So
Yeah, which I think that's what Impact is doing. I don't know if they did it already though. They might have already done it.
yeah,
We're gonna go record 8 weeks.
AEW is doing the same thing too. Are they recording?
AEW, I think recorded. They recorded 20. They recorded 26 or 27 matches.
20 something. I mean, it was.
In a span of what?
I don't know if it was 3 days or some shit like that.
Yeah. If you're gonna do 20 something matches, it would probably be over 3 days.
And they'll probably do that one more time, and that'll last them for a long time. So.
And they'll probably do like all their promos like early in the day just to get it out the way.
Yeah, but they also have guys like Darby does his own promos. He has his own crew.
Exactly.
Like he has his own guy who edits everything for him. Like
I didn't know about that. I didn't know about Darby. I mean, I've seen his promos. His promos are amazing, but I didn't know he does like.
Yeah, he's an art student or was an art student.
Yeah, I didn't know he had.
Sheesh, that's
I mean,
cheap.
a
I
film student.
I do like his gimmick. His gimmick has that Sting feel to it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, a lot of the thing is with the technology that's out now, a lot of the guys can, they can pretty much film their own stuff. I mean, if
From home.
they can
That
have
Ryder just started all that, man.
Yeah, one thing that AEW did tonight, they did to show the build with Moxley.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's not really for Moxley versus Hager, they had people from Bellator send in videos. They had like what's the announcer name that used to be in the UFC? You remember his name?
Goldberg.
Yes.
Mike Goldberg, I think.
Mike Goldberg, yeah. He sent the video in. He's like, hey,
They had
this
Mike
is going to be a
Goldberg
great
too?
match. They had like 3 people from Bellator. They had the ref,
Nice.
Big John.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Big John sending a video.
Oh, the big referee dude, right?
Yeah, Big John.
Yeah,
McCarthy.
okay, yeah.
Is he the one? Is he the one with that crazy long?
Oh.
No, he's the
Oh,
one.
okay.
He's probably the most
He has
famous.
hair.
Oh, he was like
black
the
hair.
original guy from UFC, right? Big,
Yeah.
Okay.
He's probably the
I
most
know who he
famous.
He used to be a cop, if I'm not mistaken, right, Vic?
I'm not sure what he used to be.
Man, he could,
Probably.
as far as I'm concerned, he could be whatever he wants. Look at him.
I know he's very important to the
They should
history of
sign him.
MMA.
Yeah, he's important to MMA.
Yeah, he's very important. He actually helped come up with the rules, or he was there, like in the courtrooms. fighting for the rules. And
But the main event tonight, that was Moxley and Hager, I believe.
yeah. So that they had the whole.
Promoted it. I did see the build up from last week, and I thought it was amazing. Like, Moxley in his garage, while Hager was just training in the Octagon, or was it in the gym? I believe it was, and I thought it had a cool build up to it. You had Jake Hager and his wife, but then you had Moxley all by himself because obviously, like, Renee can't be on TV for.
Yeah, that would be a conflict of interest there, friend.
That would really piss off the old man.
Yeah, I was
Although
waiting
Moxley,
for Renee Young
showed up on Fox.
Moxley
Right?
did show up on a little WWE content a few weeks back.
Yeah. Just show like.
Hey, but that's a Fox show, brother.
Yeah, he's
So
just
WWE was like, God damn it!
he's just
Yeah,
he's trying to get Renee fired. I mean, my goodness.
Vince was like, God damn it!
But no, I thought it was a cool build up. Both guys can talk. Hager has got himself a lot better in promos. Moxley, I can't say enough about him. I think he's the best promo out of all the Shield members. So I just thought it was.
He's always
that was the main event tonight, obviously. Don't tell me who won because I haven't recorded.
I'm not dropping any spoilers here, my friend.
Please don't. I didn't watch either show tonight. I had to do daddy duties tonight, so no wrestling.
You would know about that.
No wrestling tonight, but I'll catch up. That's for sure.
You were wrestling the kid, right? You were showing him a couple of moves.
Yeah, really tonight. What it was. Once I finished.
Teach him how to sell, man. That's the most important thing.
Well, that's the thing though. When you're 3 years old, the whole selling thing doesn't really work. That concept hasn't quite reached him just yet.
Hasn't reached him yet. Yeah.
No, he certainly knows how to make a comeback. That's for sure though. When he makes his comeback, it's stiff, bro.
Game over.
Let me tell you, you would think my daughter was 6'10", 330, because she doesn't sell a damn thing.
Takes a punch.
She doesn't sell nothing. She looks at me like she's
learned from you.
Andre in his prime.
I do remember a couple of years ago, I tried to wrestle Vic, and she got so scared because she didn't want us wrestling. Don't you remember that, Vic?
Oh yeah.
What's she scared for?
Try that now.
I think she'll join you.
Referee the match.
Try that. She won't referee the match. She'll fight. She'll fight.
Look on me and then sneak under the bed.
I was trying to teach her to take a few bumps, and I was doing back body drops to her.
Lou, take notes, buddy. You gotta do.
Not yet.
I said, slap the mattress, damn it. Then she was like, I think I can land on my feet. So we started doing a crazy back body drop with a rotation, and she was trying to land on her feet. She almost did it, but she couldn't do it.
He's trying to train her to be the next Ricochet, just like.
Yeah, right.
That's right. Just in case, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. That could be a worthwhile skill someday, Yeah.
All right. So, any last words?
Just
Go
get
Nova.
back to the sad part. I just hope everybody, just gets through this, and hope they all get jobs before this pandemic ends, and everybody's gonna be okay. But I do like everybody's predictions on where people should go. I wish I would have came up with the Drake and EC3 concept, because that is such a great idea. Those two guys are just a package, and they work very well together. It's kind of like the Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. It's like you can't go anywhere without the other.
Bro, you have no idea. Their work in TNA was so good. I don't know if you guys got to see it though.
That. And we met
it
them.
It led to to them fighting each other.
Yeah.
In this, that's probably both of their best, in my opinion, their best matches.
Yeah. And we
it's one of my favorite. One of my favorite matches ever. And EC3 is the heel. Rockstar Spud was a heel. EC3 turned on him eventually. A bunch of bullshit happened, and then by the end of that match, Spud is a bloody mess, but EC3 gets the win. But Spud gets over big time. And then what I really liked it is they stuck some realism in it, but he was in character, but he said how he really felt. He said a lot of nice things about Spud. He's gonna say basically not like, basically as a heel, but everything he said, you could tell he meant it, and it was really, really cool, really well done.
I know. Them two and Braun Strowman are good friends. So,
Yeah,
Braun is probably like a little sad that like he doesn't have like his traveling buddies now.
Yeah, well, maybe if he wasn't making so much money, maybe they wouldn't have to fire somebody.
Take a pay cut.
Exactly.
For Drake.
Exactly.